going on, everybody? This is the Pro Wrestling Wire podcast. This is your host, Rick Del Santo. Of course, you can catch us each and every week here on ProWrestlingWire.net, Helix Rock Radio, right out of Pennsylvania. And of course, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find your podcast. This is Rick Del Santo, obviously, and I am here today with a fine young gentleman, great young wrestler, very new to the business, AG Nelli. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Can't complain. It's a great Friday afternoon. I'm ready for the weekend.
Yeah, me too, me too. So tell me, I just want to dive a little bit into your wrestling career and your history. What made you interested in the world of professional wrestling or professional wrestling as a whole, as a youth? When did you discover the world? I mean, you're still relatively young, so
It was 2006, and just so I didn't really like sports as much when I was younger. I even remember how old I was in 2006. Let's say I was 10 or 12. Um, and I heard people talking about it in the playground, and it just so happened one night when I was surfing the TV, I found it, and I remember I was watching the first episode was SmackDown 2006. The main event of the show was Kane versus Mr. Kennedy. They were getting ready for Armageddon, so that's what kind of sparked my interest. And I said, like, I can do this. I would love to do this. Fast forward a couple of years, I started doing amateur wrestling. I did amateur wrestling in college, and I was ready to start a professional wrestling career. COVID hit, and try to build up some money for school. And finally, this year, I decided to pull the trigger. And in April, I just started my professional wrestling career.
how long did you wrestle for? Is that you wrestled high school and college? So what's that,
I
about eight
wrestled middle,
years?
I wrestled middle school, high school, and college, so a little over 10 years.
Okay, wow, that's incredible. A lot of people don't know this around the area unless I've spoken to them about this, but I also have an amateur background. I wrestled in
Oh,
school as
really?
well. Yes, yes.
What state are
Uh,
you from?
I'm from Connecticut. I am from
Okay.
Connecticut. Yeah, I wrestled for Amity High School, so I don't know if you're right out of Woodbridge. It's kind of close to where the JCC is that you've wrestled at recently.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So, yep, yep. So how was that to you? What was the experience as opposed to, you got interested in amateur wrestling? Obviously, it was nothing like what you saw on TV. Some people go into it not realizing that.
A lot of people. I remember seeing a Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth interview, and he said the exact same thing, where the ropes. And I guess it was shocking, I guess. But like I loved amateur wrestling. It definitely developed who I was today. Definitely made me tough, and it definitely got me in shape. So that's why. But I really enjoyed it. And I before I wanted to start a professional wrestling career, I knew I could start at 18, but I knew that my wrestling career wouldn't be finished unless I did college wrestling.
Right, right. A lot of professional wrestlers like say that. I remember talking to Barry Horowitz, and probably one of the first interviews I've done for this podcast. And his thing was he wanted to go the right way, so he decided to start wrestling amateur so he can learn the actual roots of professional wrestling and stuff like that. So, and I gotta say, when I did, I was in the best shape of my life as well.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
was not
Yeah.
nearly as heavy as I am now. So I was also, that was what 30 years ago as well, probably. So 35, maybe something around there. So you've been training with Paul Roma, Mario Mancini outside of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. You said that you wanted to train, but COVID hit. So were you looking at Paradise Alley during that time period, or or were you looking somewhere
Um,
else?
I just kind of looked like what was in the area. I remember Paradise was one of the first places I did hit up. I think I hit up Test of Strength, but Paradise just made more sense because it was closer.
Hmm.
And honestly, I love Paradise. I love Test of, I met everyone at Test of Strength. So it's kind of I've trained at Test of Strength once, and I'm very friendly with the guys over there. So there's no hard feelings to anyone. But like I said, just because of time wise, like you said, like I'm a busy person, so just time wise, it made more sense for me to go to Paradise Alley.
Right, right. I know that you're a very busy guy. You're working a lot, from what I understand. Your shoot job, right?
Yep.
So you don't get to get out there as much, I think, unless you do have actual bookings and stuff. How many days a week that are you down there at the gym at Paradise Alley?
Definitely three. I try to
Yeah.
get four. But
Hmm.
recently it's been three.
Yeah. Were you familiar with Paul and Mario before you went into that, or did you have to do your homework and learn who they were?
I'm gonna be very honest, I did not know who they were. Because for me, I think the earliest wrestling I would maybe watch on my own was like 95, 94. And I know they
Okay.
were wrestling around that time, but it's just still kind of like I was more familiar with like I love the Attitude Era. I love Ruthless Aggression. That's kind of more my style. But but I did have to do my homework before.
Right. Right. Yeah. I was a big fan of Paul's growing up. I thought he was probably one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and now probably 30 some odd years later getting to know him, it's pretty on a personal level, it's pretty interesting to hear amazing stories and Mario too. To hear some of the amazing stories of them traveling with the WWF at that time period. So, yeah. So you got there. You've been working out. What was your first match?
My first match was against Killa Jay at
Okay,
the
I thought
Amara
so.
Brewing.
Yeah.
She needed they were looking for people and they asked if I wanted to do it and I said of course, I would do it.
Yeah. So I tried to find that. I could have sworn that was your first match, but I tried to go through I was going through Cage Match and stuff like that to try to gather up some of the matches, and I couldn't find that listed, which is every other show is listed except for that you're on.
Oh
So
wow.
that's the only one. Um, so what was it like working with Killa J? I think that she's a very a talented young lady. Excuse me. I think that she's got a lot of potential to get out there and explode.
I mean, she's already gone out there. She's gone to
Yeah.
Maine. She's gone to other shows too. Killa
Really?
J is very, very yeah. Killa J is very tough. The name Kill is in there for a reason. No, she's always in the gym. She's pretty strong. Like you saw her lift me up in that match. Like I'm not
Oh
the
yeah.
lightest guy. So very impressive. Oh, very smart in the ring too. Like I very much enjoyed working with her.
Yeah. And of course you were that is at the Armada Brewery. Paradise Alley runs there during the warmer weather during the year, and it's a great environment to be out there and those good shows like that out there during the summer. Um Geez, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry. So you got a chance to work Sylvan as well. uh September 28th, 2024. Sylvan is he's kind of his character's a little bit weird. You know what I mean? It's interesting, I think. The He's from the Forest of the Lost. But he is more of a I don't know, like a powerhouse type of guy. So
Mhm.
you had to struggle a little bit with him in various ways because he has a different style than you.
Sylvan, like I mean, like that was also a good match too, because like again, I'm gonna be at a disadvantage in a lot of matches. So Sylvan, I don't really train with guys as Sylvan size, so it was definitely a good test of my strength, of my speed, of my knowledge too, because he is a veteran, too. So I enjoyed working with Sylvan too. That match was very, very hard, very, very, very tough. Um, but we got through it. He made me work. He made me work. I didn't win the match, unfortunately, and well deserved the Sylvan, and he's gonna keep elevating. I mean, he is the king of paradise for a reason.
Right, right. What influenced your style as far as being a professional wrestler and your gimmick? You're called AG Nelly. It's all go. What influenced you in that, and what made you choose that?
Paul Roma.
Paul Roma.
um, I so I was thinking so long of like what I wanted to do, and Roma said, "You're just all go," and like I was like, okay, and I don't even after months of this, I still don't even know what all go is. I still don't know, and every this whole thing is coming together. Like I was just like, what if I came out with a go sign? People loved it. People like the go chant. Um, but yeah, my wrestling style, that's tough because Mario looked at me and said, "Well, you're short and small. You got to fly, but you're also big and strong. So you gotta be kind of a powerhouse. So it's a little bit of the in between, because I'm not Corey Duke. I can't flip all over the place, but also I'm not like Mooch. I'm not like Sylvain. I'm not the strongest in the room, but I can still pick you up.
Right.
Um, so it's kind of like mixing those styles together. It really has to go with what match I'm in and who I'm going against and what's going to work in that match. I can't really just go out there. I think that's what I like about my character is that I can do a little bit of everything, which is going to help me grow. But eventually, it will help me find what style works for me. So I get to play a little around with a bit of both right now.
Right, right. You mentioned a couple guys I want to bring up because one of them, Mooch is kind of a powerhouse as well, kind of like a Sylvan, but he's a veteran. He's been around what 15 years or so, and he's got a smart mind for the business. Very creative gentleman. He's done a lot of the graphics for me, so for this show, and a great asset to the world of professional wrestling, I think. And have you worked him yet or no?
I haven't, but I would definitely love to. He's worked every other rookie except for me, and I'm
Wow.
like, I'm ready.
I think that's probably going to come soon. Don't forget, you guys got a big show coming up January 19th. I'm sure you're
Yes,
going to
I
be
do.
there. So,
I am.
yeah.
I will be on that show, and me and Jeremy are going to finish it. We are both 1-1 against each other. It is going to be a best 2 out of 3 falls match.
Wow. Wow. That's going to be insane. Let's talk about Jeremy LaCroix. Yeah, he decided to try to get on my case today in some Facebook comments about my choices of music and you know, he's a guy that just sometimes doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut, but for the most part he is able to back it up in the ring using that amateur style.
Jeremy is one of the youngest people on the PPW roster,
Yeah.
and I don't blame him. He's very, very confident. And to be
Yeah.
honest, I'm almost 10 years older than him, and I wish I had his confidence. You could go all over New England, and I guarantee you people know who he is because he's
Yeah.
always showing up. He's always ready to wrestle.
Yeah.
He will put he will put wrestling before everything. And me starting off, I wasn't so ready to put everything aside to put wrestling first, but wrestling was definitely number one. But he deserves a lot of credit. He puts on fantastic matches. He's very knowledgeable. He's always looking for more information. And it's like, you know, most people at 19 aren't willing to do the things that he does. They're not willing to stay up super, super late. They're not willing to travel everywhere. He's not the type of kid, who wants to go out and like party every weekend. He's really down to like become the best. And you can see it. Like we have other superstars like Brad Baylor, 20 years old, WWID. And if Jeremy keeps the things up, he's gonna be one of the next. We're gonna have some of the youngest people in the WWE soon because of all the hard work they put in.
Yeah. What do you think about Brad signing with the WWID? I mean, that's a big feather in the cap for Paradise Alley.
When I've wrestled a lot of people, seen a lot of people train. Brad knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
I enjoy watching Brad. I enjoy seeing Brad because it helps me learn. Um, he's gonna be so great, so
Yeah.
perfect. He knows he's ready for it, and he knows he's gonna be a big superstar. But when you walk up to Brad, he's gonna treat you just like a normal person. Brad
Absolutely.
Brad is very respectful, despite what you might see in the ring. He's got to do what he's got to do to win. But I really, really do think Brad is going to be up there as one of the best ever.
I think that his character is just that. It's a character. If you get to sit down and talk with him and hang out with him, he's not really uh, that person. You know what I mean? That his character is. And I got to see him at Mania in Paradise. I got lucky enough to be on commentary for that show, and I really enjoyed myself being part of that. And he broke the news to me that he had signed and they hadn't announced it yet. And he is just honestly his real life character is just not personality, I should say. He's a very friendly young man. You know what I mean? And Once he's out there, though, in between those curtains and in the ring, he's a completely different character, and uh, it works. I think.
Brad didn't hesitate to, as soon as I walk in, Brad didn't hesitate to come say hello.
Yeah,
I mean, Jesus, like great person, great in ring, skills. Brad's one of the best.
yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about you mentioned Corey Duke before. He's another talented young wrestler that he's been on this show before. Jeremy's been on actually all three of those guys. Brad was on the show, a couple years ago. It's probably actually that interview has the highest numbers on my channel is the Brad Baylor interview, which is just for to me that's incredible that uh, um, but Corey Duke is another guy he's getting out there and he's working. I don't know. There's something about him because he's working. I think he has less matches than you. I could be wrong, but he's been around probably around the same time as you, maybe. And he's just out there. Like you couldn't tell just by watching him. You know what I mean?
Me and Corey started pretty much at the exact same time. We
Right.
were the new boys on the street. And there's just something about me and Corey that we're willing to push each other because me and Corey, like, we're not the oldest, but we're not the youngest. We're both
Hmm.
27. Um, and we want this. We want this more than ever. And we don't want to wait till next year. I'm gonna be 28 this year. He's gonna be 20 soon. Like, we don't want to wait. We want to keep crushing it. We want to keep going, and we want to get that. We want to get that contract. And we do whatever. He had his first match like in a month or two. That was crazy, and I'm not
It
gonna
is.
lie, I was a little jealous, because it's like we both started together, and I thought, you see the stories, like Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan, starting off in Ring of Honor, then finally going to WrestleMania. I think that's gonna be me and Corey potentially, if we keep doing the things that we do. Amazing person. He's slowly transitioning into more of like a coach in the more than just a wrestler. He's also like a coach. He's helping out everyone. He's been helping with his brother to get him ready, helping the younger talent too that are coming in there. And I mean, look at him. He's shredded. That's work too. You can wrestle as much as you want, but you gotta be strong. You gotta be fast. And man, like you can see him flying all over the place. And he's had some great, fantastic matches too. And I know he wants to get in the ring with me eventually one time. We want to do a one-on-one. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, I know somebody that was interested in you guys pairing you guys up as a tag team. Would you ever consider that?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the issue, he has his brother. Family comes
Yeah.
first. Um, before his brother got in, we did talk about it, and then his brother came, and now it's kind of like just him and his brother working together, and I've seen them working together. They're gonna be one of the best tag teams out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his brother's Caleb, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his brother's actual debut. He's made a couple appearances. They're short. He snuck in there for a couple minutes at a time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to his debut. You got the opportunity to take place in the Rumble in Paradise. It was the first Rumble in a couple years, so bringing it back. What'd you think of the big being part of the Rumble?
Man, I think, you know, you just hear certain type of matches, you get excited. Like I'm excited for a 2 out of 3 falls. I'm excited for a rumble because they're not your typical type of matches, and you have to go in there with a different mindset. You have to go in there with different skills, because you can have probably the best single matches ever, but your rumbles you might need a little bit of work. 2 out of 3 falls, like this will be my first one. It's gonna be a very interesting experience. But I think rumbles are always excited. You never know who's gonna show up. You never know who's gonna be there. I love rumbles. I think Rumble, the Royal Rumble season, it's one of the best seasons. I think the Royal Rumble might be one of the better things than WrestleMania. I love WrestleMania, but the Royal Rumble's just so exciting because you never know who's coming. You never know who's gonna win.
The Royal Rumble is my favorite event of the year. It's something
Oh,
that I look forward to. I know we had like my son played basketball and we had to go to like a family dinner last year, which was, all the parents and stuff like that. And I sat there with my phone. I'm watching Peacock during the Royal Rumble, watching the Royal Rumble because I wasn't going to be home in time. And it's like coming to find out there was another parent that was doing the same thing. So we kind of hung out and like chatted about wrestling while everybody else was just talking, basketball and stuff like that. So, the Royal Rumble it's the kickoff to the really awesome season in for WWE. WrestleMania is the biggest of the year. Royal Rumble to me is a close second.
Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah, I don't really know. I think I would say like, WrestleMania is cool. You always get those big matches, but I think the special matches, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, are just so fun to watch and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else. Okay, so at Mania in Paradise, like I said, I got to do commentary. You took place in a five-man scramble match. What was it like working a scramble? That was your first scramble?
Scrambles are so much fun because you get to like team up with people, you get to work multiple people at once, and it's just so many different styles. We had me and Corey flying, we had, Deuce choke slamming me, we had battle spearing people, we had Kaizo throwing people around. It was really, really fun. And I think that was one of the best matches, I've ever had. And to be fair, it might be one of the best matches I might have for a long time.
Oh, wow. What do you think of Chris Battle's a very vital part of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. He probably he's one of he coaches down there still, correct? Still?
Mondays, yes,
Yeah,
Mondays.
Mondays. Yeah, I've been down there when he's been sometimes I miss him, but what's it like learning under him? This is a guy that's been in the ring with some of the greats like Brian Danielson and was as well. I don't know if you've ever seen that match before.
No, but I remember when they were doing Brian Daniels's farewell thing. Chris Battle was like, "Oh, that was my match right there. That was my match right there." But wrestling is so diverse. There's too many moves, but he's like a encyclopedia of moves. And he's teaching you the moves that you need to know. Like I don't need to do a 450 off the rope. He's teaching us what we need to know. He's teaching us things that are going to protect us, make us look good, and like just be able to put on a match.
Yeah, yeah. You made your debut for two other companies that that I'm a part of. One of them I actually wasn't able to make the event because of prior family obligation in the Connecticut Extreme Wrestling, which is now changing into the Connecticut Wrestling Federation. What was your opinion on working there for the first time? It's a different kind of product, but I think that now they're rebranding and trying to go for like an actual wrestling brand.
Um, you know, uh, different experience for me. I got to work with Dan the Man, and I that was a huge, huge honor. Like I don't know if he knew much. He's met me before plenty of times, but to for like to be like, hey, this guy's only had like a handful of matches. You're gonna go up against him, and he was so grateful. Very respectful people. We had Dread there. Met some other nice people. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Dan is a wealth of knowledge. Having a conversation with him about professional wrestling and its history, I didn't really know him too well until I worked a show with him, uh, gosh, 2, 3 years ago. And, it's kind of a guy that I saw around and heard of and stuff like that. But we ended up having basically a historic conversation of like some of the earliest wrestling and and he understands professional wrestling, you know what I mean, and I think he's an asset to the world of professional wrestling, especially around here with working with guys such as yourself.
What you see in the ring is so different from what you see backstage. It's the same thing with Brad Baylor. He is he carries himself well. He's very respectful, Dan. I could talk about Dan forever. Like I saw him the next day at a different promotion, and he was like, "Hey, how you feel?" Like he was checking in on me. Um, gives great feedback. Again, great knowledge. He's a locker room leader. Um, I really enjoyed working with him, and like to have the honor to share a match with him again at such a young start. I was very grateful for that, and I thank him for giving me like again a good match.
Yeah. uh, so let me tell you about this. You're mentioned this one. You made your debut for Coliseum Pro Wrestling, which is my home base. I commentate for there. and you got to go up against Patrick Saint, who's another. That guy's he's a lot bigger than you, and while you did put up a really good fight, didn't work out in your favor.
I when I'm s- You've seen me go to all these wrestling shows. I've
Yeah,
gone to shows in Jersey, New York, Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, whether if I'm wrestling or not. And one person I keep bumping into is Patrick Saint. What a phenomenal character he is.
yeah,
He's just full of everything. He raps. He looks like $1 million. Man, Pat, I remember like I DM Pat on the side. I haven't told any wrestler that I wanted to wrestle them except for Pat, and I finally got that opportunity, which was crazy because there's a lot of people I want to wrestle, but Pat, he's just so interesting. He's so smart. He knows how to work the crowd. He knows how to get underneath your skin and stuff. And again, after the match, he gave me so much knowledge. And he was like, "Listen, like, let's train sometime. Like again, this community we have in New England, like we're family here.
yeah.
I that's why I don't mind. Like if someone I remember like someone would be asked for like, damn, I need money for some pizza. Like I don't mind, bro. Like I'll pay for $3 for your slice. You need a ride home. I gave someone a ride home from the Legacy is Timeless show. Like I drove one of my boys to that show. I don't mind. We're family. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you next week. I'm gonna see you the week after, and I'm gonna keep seeing you. And even if I do go somewhere or you do go somewhere, I hope we stay in contact.
Right. What do you think about the scene in New England right now? I mean, I think it's especially Connecticut. I don't know how much you knew about the independent scene in Connecticut prior to getting involved, but in my experiences over the years, this is the most active and on fire than it's ever been, ever. And there's newer promotions continuing to pop up, which is run by positive people. Alex started Legacy of Time is Timeless. I think last year that was. Doc had started Pure Vanguard earlier this year, which they're running a show tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to that show. I'm going to be in attendance for that one. There's just it's just a hot scene right now, especially in Connecticut. Connecticut is on fire.
Did you see how many people got ID'd from New England?
A lot. It
New
was
England tri-state, it's incredible.
yeah,
And you see some of these people, like I follow TJ Crawford, he's going to England. Richard Holiday's going to England. Fancy Ryan Clancy was just in Germany. Ichiban was part of MLW. We had Miracle Generation on GCW. Like, holy crap. Like,
yeah,
this is such a great place to be. A great place to be, a great place to learn, be a fan, be a friend, be a worker. This is just such an amazing place to be. The talent here is phenomenal. It doesn't matter how many of these guys go to WWE, AEW, New Japan, or wherever. We're gonna have so many other people ready to take on that spot.
yeah, yeah. I think it's phenomenal. When literally because they kept announcing guys from for the ID program. All of them at first were like New England guys. I was like, are they just doing New England? Are they just opening up like another Deep South or OVW or what have you right here in New England? And this is what's going to happen? Because I mean, being from this area, I just thought it was like, holy shit, it was amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So what else do you have going on? What are you doing? Why don't you tell us, talking off air, you told me what you were up to. Why don't you just mention that this weekend, what you got going on?
Yeah, I'm always about opportunity. I saw that they posted, I forget WWLN. I think that's what it is. They're down in Florida. They're having a Gabe Sapolsky and Ace Steel seminar, and it's 2 days. And I get to learn from from the uppers. I get to learn from the top bunch. And I think that's one thing. Is like when you're young and you're new to this business, you just want to start right away. And again, like I said, that's why I try to go to practice 3 to 4 times a week. That's why I try to go train at other schools. That's why I'm always lifting. And Florida's far, and it's not cheap. So my flight's at 9 o'clock, and I'm not going to get there to 12:30. By the way, since I'm being there next day, I still have to pay for Friday night, which I think is BS. Um, but it's a 2 day camp. This isn't like one of those seminars. It's like 2 days, 6 hours, and I get to learn so much. Why not? Why not get that opportunity? Because this opportunity may not come again, or it may not come again for a while. So, you know, I'm going to end this year on a hot note. 10 matches, 4 promotions, wrestle some of New England's biggest stars, train with some of New England's biggest stars, and I get to end it, in Florida. And who knows what's going to happen down there.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck and hope that you have a safe trip.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and where they could see you next? Obviously, I think that we mentioned it, but why don't you put it out there again?
January 19th, it will be at Cadillac Ranch. Best two out three falls, me versus Jeremy LaCroix. I believe I will be in the doing some other shows too. Actually, I'll be in Nashville in February.
Congratulations. Who you working for in Nashville?
I have no idea. I am just following Bloodsaw.
Okay. All right. There you
Bloodsaw
go.
can tell me Bloodsaw can tell me I'm wrestling in India tomorrow, and I say no worries, man. I will see you there.
Let me ask you before we get out of here. Are you going to are you traveling down with March to the AIWF weekend?
I didn't even
Or
know
have you
that was a thing. I hope I do.
All right, we'll talk more about that later. So well, good luck and I hope that you have a great weekend.